Mentoring is rewarding, but it can also be hard. The hardest part I found about mentoring is when your mentee has a very difficult situation. Biggest one I get is advice in dealing with difficult people. Difficult people are everywhere in every situation. And Stephen Covey said it well. You need to first understand and then seek to be understood. And that goes for the process of mentoring, but also trying to help that person understand the other person's position. In a difficult person situation, your mentee needs to do that. They need to first try to work through the process from the other person's point of view, and then think about how they can make themselves understood. There's a lot of reasons people may be difficult, and some of them are legit, but it could be just bad communications on both sides. Maybe a technical person's talking to a functional person and it's kind of a different language. They may just see things differently. They may have a different point of view. They may have conflicting goals, and this happens in business all the time. And some people are just jerks. They're actually demeaning or disrespectful. When that situation occurs, it may be helpful to suggest the mentee first validate the situation. Ask someone close but not directly involved to the situation. If you are outside the organization, you may want to ask them, have they talked to someone inside the organization who knows that person and your mentee? Now that you've validated the situation, either directly with your mentee or your mentee with someone inside the company, you can start to unpack the situation, figure out what the emotional aspect is, figure out what the actual issue is, and then talk about how to create a dialogue to move forward. Moving forward may be as simple as changing the language used, using terminology that other person really understands, or unlocking a way for you both to move forward on separate paths if it's just a personality issue. The other possibility is compromise. Finding a way to compromise is actually how most conflicts gets resolved. But there's a warning here. Some things aren't resolvable because they're actually issues of harassment, prejudice, racism, some other kind of issue that is much, much bigger than a mentoring moment. You'll need to know when those happen, call it out to your mentee, but don't try to give professional advice or legal advice. Instead, refer them to the right kind of advice that you think they might need. Dealing with people is one of the most important things your mentee is going to ever learn. That is the core of business. Being able to both influence people, get along with people, and also get people on your side. Those are important skills. Helping your mentee learn those core skills. This will be helping your mentee succeed in life. The next difficult situation a mentee might bring to you is navigating a challenging task. Projects and management of departments is all about managing people, managing tasks. And sometimes those tasks are really hard. You need to climb Mount Everest, either from time, cost, or functionality. It might be hard to meet the customer's ask. It may be really difficult to get that technology up and running on time as designed. It also might be difficult to put together a great high-performing team. Whatever it is, it can overwhelm your mentee. This is where project knowledge and good management can help. Being able to teach your mentee the way to get started one step at a time, unravel big tasks, break them down to small tasks, and start to see things as manageable, actionable items. Research shows that 92% of successful projects are ones where tasks are adequately defined and broken down. Teaching your mentee this approach enables them to tackle complex projects more easily. It can be that some tasks don't make sense or are illogical, and that can really happen in real life. People sometimes ask for illogical things. Learning how to bring concerns or problems and alternate solutions is a key to upward mobility for your mentee. Teaching your mentee how to create alternative solutions to something that doesn't make sense is a really nice skill to learn. Learning those skills is all about good analytic skills, the ability to communicate well, and break down a problem into its parts so that it can be understood, identified as illogical, and maybe it's just a matter of switching things around to make them work better. Another option is to get help. There's a couple of ways to do that. One is use a workshop. If you're trying to solve a problem, it may be one your team is facing as well, and one that they need to understand as well. So using a workshop to actually work through the problem and solve it as a group is a great way of not only making sure everyone's on board, but making sure when you bring that solution to management, they'll be on board because they'll know the team has worked it all through. Another scenario sometimes is escalation. On projects and in departments, sometimes the problem isn't solvable by you, but it can be one you can, again, bring a solution to. So you'll need to escalate saying, here's the problem and here's two solutions. They both have pros and cons. I'll need help and direction. in making sure that I pick the right one. You don't want your mentee to get beaten up for doing the wrong thing or doing something in the wrong way. So make sure they understand how to ask for help and who to ask for help depending on the situation. And the third big problem that mentees might bring to you is the unsolvable problem. Some problems kind of are unsolvable, but there are ways to deal with them. If your mentee's bringing you a problem and it is being explained as an unsolvable one, try this technique. It's called the 5 whys. You want to ask why something's true 5 times. So it could go like this. Your mentee says, I can't meet my deadline. And you ask, why can't you meet your deadline? Your mentee might respond, because it has too many tasks. And then you might say, why do you have so many tasks? Or how can you manage that many tasks? You get the idea. You keep asking why until you try to get to the root cause analysis. And then you can start to build back up and find your solutioning alternatives from there. Another situation is you might find that the unsolvable problem has a workaround potential. You might not be able to get this piece of technology up and running by this time, but what you can do is start to use the current demo system for user validation so that you can at least fast track. You might come up with a combo answer for all of the workarounds you'll need to do. So that combination of answers may be the way to solve an unsolvable problem. Now, not every problem is that easy to solve. And honestly, sometimes the hardest part is when the answers are confrontational. You might need to talk to the mentee about taking the conversation to the stakeholder and simply saying, this is a roadblock. We are going to be late with our project. Or we need to replan our project because this roadblock was unforeseeable and not mitigatable. Those moments happen, but in fact, I find that they're very rare. There are some rules of engagement when dealing with difficult situations that I want to share with you. Writing notes down as your mentee's talking to you will help you to actively listen, but also start to shape solutions with your mentee and then document both the input, throughput, and output of the situation. It will help them also get emotional control over the situation. Start to understand all the pieces that they're looking at, which may be part of the overwhelming difficulty that they're having. And make sure you keep those notes because the next point is you'll want to review the issues if they keep coming up regularly. Sometimes the point is to help the mentee get unstuck from that problem. If they're really emotionally invested in the problem, they may not be able to move beyond. You need to help them do that. No, when mentoring is not the solution. Sometimes mentoring is not the solution. The solution is HR, legal, or something else. Protect yourself professionally and emotionally. And if you want to know more about that, you might want to check out this video on mentoring for mental health, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I hope you found this information helpful, and I will see you next time. ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Bye-bye, everybody.